the geopolitical situation in Europe, then the supply chain constraints that were faced with the lockdown in China. So these are all factors that have led to the problem actually now, or the issue now, prolonging into Q3 and Q4. And I think till the end of this year, we are going to have similar challenges in making sure that we are able to get adequate supplies.
And Ashish, if I'm not wrong, as this problem was ongoing, you also went out and got an alternate supplier for an infotainment system. Are you looking at any more such moves
Yeah,
for other parts?
so I think it's easier said than done. Frankly, as a brand, our focus is on maintaining a consistency of our product offer. There is a certain brand promise and a product promise that we make to our customers, and our effort always is to make sure that we keep our brand promise and we keep our product promise in terms of features and availability of various functionalities in the car. If you look at the semiconductor shortages or the situation that is there in the market, it is primarily affecting uh, the components or the features related to, for example, the infotainment system, the digital instrument cluster that is in high demand in cars these days. But it is not only limited to that. You have supply shortages on critical components like engine control units as well happening. So it's a combination of factors because and the difficult task is balancing these different shortages. You might have infotainment system available, but at the same time you might not have ECU available. So it's a constant juggle between trying to manage different shortages and trying to produce cars as much as possible. So we have been trying alternate suppliers, but frankly, for our Volkswagen cars, we have currently not reached that stage. We are looking at alternate suppliers of infotainment systems, but considering that there is a global shortage and the global demand is at least 30 to 40% higher than what the capacity of suppliers is, it will take time. It does take time. The group is fully focused on finding alternate supply chain and alternate chip supplies to make sure that we tide over these difficulties. But it is extremely challenging and it does take time.
Right. And beyond this, right now, what would be the plant utilization capacity given all these constraints?
See, utilization capacity, very difficult for me to say because that is something which the plant side can comment on. But from a sales and marketing side, I can very clearly tell you that quarter 3 is going to be extremely challenging for us as a brand, and I think for the industry as well. The shortages have only accelerated. What I hear from our supply chain hubs in Europe and other parts of the country, that now they are battling with another problem of suddenly the supplies, being at such a high level that logistic capacity is not available. Most of the airports, most of the ports in Europe, for example, are getting choked with the high volume that they have to handle, and there is just not enough resources to handle it. So shortages and then opening up of those shortages brings different kinds of challenges for the entire supply chain, and that is what we are battling right now. But having said that, I think Q3 is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us. We might have difficulties or maybe challenges to the tune of 30 to 40% of our demand or our customer orders coming in for the quarter 3. So that's going to be a reality which we will have to face by being transparent with customers to tell them very clearly when the delivery timelines for their cars, and making sure that we continue our efforts on alternate supply chains and alternate components for the cars.
So, Ashish, do you see this as a situation wherein you are now in segments where you're competing with, much larger brands in terms of volumes and in terms of also having models, number of models? Also, they have a lot number of models. So, do you see it as a situation wherein probably with lesser models and a lesser volume, Volkswagen India might lose out more compared to the rivals? Maybe your rivals might have better inventory or stocks.
Yeah, could be. I cannot comment on how the competition is handling it, but I think the challenge is very clear for everybody, and I think everybody is battling these shortages. Yes, definitely, we have a very fresh and young portfolio in the market, and that is what we are trying to protect through making sure that we have at least the minimum supplies available. Having said that, quarter 3 might be a dip for us, but our plan is to ramp up dramatically in Q4 to be on track to meet our stated vision of doubling our volumes from 2021.
So at least for the next few months, we might see the waiting periods going up further.
Yes, yes, we might see that. Currently, if I look at the waiting periods for our cars, the Taigun and the Virtus, they range between 2 months to 4 months. I do foresee an increase in these waiting periods because demand continues to be high. I think it need not be said that the cars have been brilliantly received by the market. Customers are loving the cars that we have launched into the market, and the demand continues to be high. As I said, for example, in the month of June itself, we picked up more than 8,000 bookings, right? And we did only 4,000 customer deliveries. So there's a gap between what we can supply and what the demand is, and I'm sure that this demand will continue. Okay, so our effort over the next 3 months would be to make sure that we transparently communicate with customers on the waiting time, and knowing that they love our products, I'm sure they will understand.
Okay. And what is the response been for Tiguan? I know it's a limited numbers, but what is the kind of numbers Tiguan is doing? If you can
So
share
I think
that.
I'll just give you one figure. We currently have a waiting period of close to 5 months for the Tiguan. Yeah. So that is
Okay.
also supply constrained majorly because it is a parts and components car. So we are majorly affected by supply chains from Europe.
And overall, considering this scenario right now, Ashish, considering how the demand that you're getting from the market for the products and the deliveries that you're making, actually, what kind of gap are you seeing right now? What is the gap according to you, probably in terms of units, if you can tell us?
So I would say 30 to 40%. My stated goal for this month or for this year was close to 50,000 to 52,000 cars for the entire year, which would have taken us to double of the volume of 2021. So that translates to around 4,500 cars per month. Currently, for quarter three, our capacity to supply would be close to 3,000 cars a month.
And when we spoke during the launch of the Virtus, so you did speak to us about the split between the 1.5 and the 1 liter. Do you see, and you also mentioned that this is the initial phase. So now that the initial phase is over, are you seeing a change in those numbers? Are you seeing a change in the split?
No, definitely. You know, whenever you launch a new car and from a brand like us, the demand for the top variants continues to be high. I think what where we are trying to now navigate our mix towards is that the demand for automatic seems to be higher than the 55% that we had planned. Yeah. So the demand is at around 65% automatics and 35% manual. So this is a small change that we have to do in our production mix to make sure that the customers get what they need. In terms of split between 1 liter and 1.5, the booking trend shows 60% for the 1 liter and 40% for the 1.5. And this is again an adjustment in our mix that we are planning to do, which will basically affect the market from Q4. Because you know the production lead time is around 12 weeks. So for the next 12 weeks, we might not be able to make much changes in the mix. But in quarter four, definitely we will take that correction. Okay,
So
and
very
that will be a
interesting.
big boost, and that is a big boost that we will have into our Q4 volumes coming in. So I think in a nutshell, what I would like to say, Arpit, is that we might have a temporary situation in terms of supply constraints, but definitely Q4 is going to be big for us.
And very interestingly, you mentioned that 65% demand for automatic, and this is for the Virtus. In
Yes.
it similar for the Taigun, or is it different?
I would say Taigun, it's around 55% for the automatics.
Right. So now going forward, what is the action lined up on the EV front? I know we spoke about the testing, which is scheduled to start. Any further details, any further concrete details you can give us on maybe the launch or the introduction timelines or the unveiling?
So, Arpit, I think our plan remains the same. It's just been 3 weeks since we last talked, so nothing much has changed in the last 3 weeks, in fact. So yes, we are getting an ID4 into the country this year for testing, and we will start this testing somewhere around August, September. So we take it from there. So we are following the group strategy basically, where we are talking about a top-down approach. So our premium group brands Porsche and Audi have already launched electric cars in India, and that is a good learning for us and the volume brand as Volkswagen to take forward into how do we equip the ecosystem, what kind of preparations we need to make, what kind of segments, what kind of customers, what kind of infrastructure we need to set up. So those are the learnings we are taking on board, and we take it step by step, Arpit.
And Ashish, recently there were, I mean, Nitin Gadkari also spoke about Bharat and Cap, and so what are your views and what Volkswagen India's views on Bharat and Cap and its impact overall on the car makers and the market?
See, I can only talk about the impact on us. We have always been a strong advocate of the of highest safety standards possible, and our cars are known for that. That is why customers. That is one of the primary reasons why customers buy our car, and one of the fundamental DNAs of our products. The fundamental DNAs being safety, build quality, and fun to drive. So that is definitely one of the pillars on which we base our entire product strategy on. Uh, our India 2.0 products are equipped with more than 40 active and passive safety features. So there's definitely something which we have. There's nothing which we have left uh, off the table in terms of making sure that our cars are the safest available. So I would say that it is a welcome step by the Indian government to be introducing an Indian standard for safety, because this is becoming one of the top reasons for customers to buy a car. But at the same time, we have to understand that along with making cars more safer, it is also a fact that customer behavior also needs to be looked at. There's no point in having all these safety features in the car if we do not wear seat belts. I think seat belts are a primary safety device which should be focused on, and which should be really one of the top factors for customers and for owners to keep in mind that you could have the safest car through all these ratings, but if you do not actively participate in keeping yourself safe, then nothing then it is all useless, right? So these are two aspects of safety that we have to tackle together. But from an overall perspective, I would say we are very well placed, and we make sure that our cars are available, are the safest and safest cars available.
Okay, great. Uh, I think that answers all the questions I had for the day. If there's anything about the recent trends, anything about the sales or anything about the
So I think
vehicles you want.
yeah, I think it's pretty clear, Arpit, if you look at the sales trend, that premiumization of the Indian market is happening at a very fast pace.
Right.
It is driven by two factors. One is the aspiration level of customers has gone up. Customers' consciousness about safety, about features in the car has gone up. And parallelly, it is also driven by the needs for all manufacturers to be sustainable in the market. So this premiumization actually is the positioning that we are also taking, and we are positioned as a premium aspiration brand. So I think the movement of the market towards these fundamentals or these important aspects of a vehicle that we have been stressing on in terms of safety, in terms of feature, is something which is a welcome move for us and will bring more customers to the brand.
And one more question, Ashish, on the used car business front, how's that doing? Any numbers you can give us or any trends
It's
you
been
can?
it's been doing it's been doing fantastically well. So as you know, Arpit, we had doubled our pre-owned car sales from 2020 to 2021, and we last year we ended up with selling close to 20,000 pre-owned cars of all brands. We have moved to a multi-brand retail model in our used car network. This year, I'm planning to take this volume up to around 25,000 cars. Okay, and we are well on track for that. For H1, we ended with close to 12,000 pre-owned cars sold through our network, and well on track to meet the 25,000 target that we have set for ourselves.
Good to hear, Ashish.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, I mean, it covers all the queries I had. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your inputs. It was nice to hear all the insights you shared with us, and
Thank you so much, Arpit.
look forward to again seeing you soon.
Yeah, look forward to Arpit. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.